Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome demonetized. We missed a week last week. It was 4th of July. Hope you had a fantastic 4th of July. I was spending time with the family and I was enjoying myself. I was having a good time. You guys saw my 4th of July pic if you're on Watch Crunch. And here we are today. So today's topic is going to be on a homage slash clomage, as I like to call it, brand. Here's the deal. Before you want to click off and say that I'm not a homage guy, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, we can have a conversation whether you like something or not. And it's about bridging the gap. It's about respecting people's values regardless because we're a rare breed. Watch collectors are a rare breed. So we don't need to segregate ourselves even more as watch collectors. Yes? So I may give you perspective in talking about homage watches. And it's all about perspective for me. Like I had a conversation about my turtle earlier today with another watch collector, and I was mentioning replacing the bezel insert. And what he's told me was, I told him I'm not really feeling the stock bezel insert. It's just a black one. And he goes, well, it gives contrast to the watch. So that's the reason why I like it. And I was like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. And that bezel insert just went up. I'm still going to change it out, but I appreciate it a little bit more because it made more sense. So the point is this. If you're not into homage watches, I still implore you to watch this content because you may gain some perspective, but at least you also can hear the side of the collector that appreciates homage watches. And that's how I started collecting. And that's how a bunch of people like to collect, period. So it's always going to be a part of the conversation. I include a lot of watches as is. There's a large range of price points. And look, if somebody's getting into watch collecting, the worst thing you want to do is scare them away by a price point that's too crazy. So I think that they are good. And we're going to get into a bunch of reasons why I think that they are good. And that's where I think I can lock in on at least getting you guys accommodated or at least agreeable or at least respectable in that perspective. Anywho-ha. Oscar Nunez is in the building. What's going on, bro? He is present. So here's the deal, guys. This is what we're going to do today. I'm going to test this out. And this is like a pilot. This is, I just realized my AC is still on. Sorry about that if you hear the feedback. The show must go on. I want to start reviewing watches live. That's what I want to do. There's several reasons why I want to do that, but I want to test that out. So this is not only going to be an unboxing, but it's going to be a review that's going to include the watches that I'm going to unbox, but it's also going to include the website. If a watch brand is based off of the web-based brands, therefore their website should be a part of that audit. That website should also be overseen by the reviewer, at least in my opinion. But it's hard to squeeze that in when you're doing your normal reviews of watches. Therefore, I figured that doing a live review of the watches would make more sense when we pull up that website and add that into the content. Plus, it saves me a whole lot of time from having to do edits. Here's the deal, man. I got a limited amount of time, as many of us do. And as of right now, the season that I'm in, if I can get these live reviews more active, then it will be able to have a faster turnaround time and make me more productive as a content creator. It's weird to even say that. I'm just a watch enthusiast. Who else is in the building? Tim Cheese. Good morning. Saturday here in Australia. Fantastic. I mean, that would have been great on Thursday because Thursday it's Friday for you, but the fact that it's Saturday, that kind of sucks. It's Friday over here, bro, and feeling good. Joe's Watch Show. I have owned 2 Tandorios, nice watches for very little money, solid specs. You're already giving flowers, my friend. And that's the reason why I also wanted to do these reviews live, because having the community's input whilst going over the watches, I think is a fantastic thing. It hasn't been done before. Here's the deal. And we're going on a rant. We're going to do the unboxing very soon. I want to allow the people to roll in. But not a lot of people do watch reviews live. In fact, I don't think anybody really does that. Maybe I'm wrong. But at the end of the day, I don't think I am. I consume a lot of watch content, believe it or not. And I don't think that a lot of people do it. So if you see people doing watch reviews live, just know that your boy was on it first. Just saying. Now, there's going to be a trade-off in doing live reviews, and I'm going to get into that. Jose is in the building. I finally made it to a live. Bro, where have you been? I'm going to need you. Listen, dude, if you watch the playback, I'm greatly appreciative. I get that I'm doing this on a Friday at 3:31, so that's a weird time to do a live when people are trying to still settle in from their job. So I'm greatly appreciated that you made even this one, kind sir. But if you catch this on the playback, and if you're watching this on the playback, please feel free to share your thoughts on the subject matter at hand. And yes, we are going to get into things. I'm just going to catch up on chat. Tandorio makes cool designs. Their name sounds like chicken dish, but it's still okay. Tandorio. Yeah, Tandorio chicken. Yeah, Tandorio chicken's fire though. I don't know. JC watches in the building, the master of Zelos. What's going on, bro? I've always wondered if Tandorio were good. I'm glad that you're on this live, Fidel, because we're about to unpack that. I'm about to get into it, and I don't want to spoil it, but stay tuned. Don't you work, Skylar? I do work, bro. I just finished work. Why are you trying to come at me nice and early? Anyway, I want to show you guys what I have on wrist because that's pretty important. That's also tied into the subject matter at hand. And there's a lot of good points that I'm going to give you guys into why I think that homage or clomage watches are in fact good for the watch community in general. You may disagree, you may not, but we're going to get into it. So first thing is first, let me show you guys what I have on wrist. We're going to switch to the watch cam because I have that out here today because we are going to do the unboxing, and I want you guys to get a good look at the watches at hand. That makes a lot of sense, yes? And then, yes, I am stalling while I take the watch off my wrist. Anyhow, let's do a solo layout for this watch. And this is the watch I have on wrist today, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? This is a homage, clomage company that I actually did a modification for, right? So I have my name as the logo. I have my birth year at the bottom 6 o'clock. And I changed the hands out to what was originally a Mercedes hands that you would typically get. Now, obviously, we all know what this is homaging, yes? However, I put my own spin on it. It has a sunburst dial. I think it looks phenomenal. And I made it my own very, very early on. And that is, I'm going to give you guys that right off the bat. That is one of the greatest pluses that you can get from homage companies like Tandorio. They don't cost a lot of money. And if you ever wanted to venture into getting into modding, that's the safest bet. Some people are a little afraid to start from scratch and put everything together. You can start that way. I didn't. I started the way that you saw that watch, where I just wanted to change little things out here and there. I knew that, and I was more confident that all the pieces went together. I now know that NH35 parts are plentiful, but at the time I was a little nervous. And so if you get something super affordable that's a homage or clomage, you can swap little things out. The Mercedes hands is super played out. It's only really relative to me, in my opinion, when you're actually getting Rolex, yes? So I felt that the hands that I switched out for that watch was better fitting, was more my style, was more a homage at that point rather than a clomage. It's still very close, so people are going to call it very much a clone, but it's where I started in my watch collecting journey. And if you are starting there or if you are staying there, that's totally fine, guys. However you like to collect gains you the ticket to watch collecting. Don't let anybody tell you or make you fear however you want to collect watches in not being good enough or not being classified as respectable. Yes, a watch is a watch. And I think that enthusiasts should focus on the fact that we are a rare breed and we should try to grow the pie and get more collectors in rather than trying to be snobby and say that, well, you only have homage or clomage watches. That's whack, bro. No. I don't think so. So Robert Wood is in the building. I do see him on chat. Anyway, let's get to the unboxing. Wait, before we get to the unboxing, I had a whole script written out, but I'll tell you what, guys, I kind of feel like skipping the whole script since you guys are already poured in, because I'm pretty good at off the cuff. I have a lot of stuff here about Tandorio. Maybe, you know what? Let's run through a little bit about Tandorio, actually. So the name was registered in early 2021. With the beginning of late 2020, the brand is based in Guangzhou, China, and is owned by Guangzhou Sabo Trading Co. Their catalog covers various men's watches categories, and officially the store organizes products under dive watches, pilots, GMTs, dress watches, and specialty bronze or titanium. Yes, you can get a material aside from 316L stainless steel, and you can still get it at a very affordable price, which is fantastic. Tandorio Homage tributes designs such as dive watches to vintage Seiko, like the SKX series, which is very important because the SKX is hard to get now, and we'll get into that. But they also are homaging stuff like the Captain Willard. Many of the models came in standard stainless steel, while specialty models are bronze or titanium cases, mostly in cases of 316L stainless steels. And the crystals are typically a sapphire crystal. The primary use of the primary source for Tandorio is off-the-shelf parts. I think that we all pretty much are aware of that. So you're either going to get an NH35, a PT5000, maybe you'll get a Miyota, or even an ST series for a movement for that chronograph that's affordable. Yes. The quartz models, they use a Japanese quartz, a Seiko VK63A, and that drives their chronographs. Hey, beautiful. The wife is home. The queen is home. Babe, when you get a chance, can you pass me your Tandorio if you don't mind? So their watches are praised, but the stock bracelets and straps are basic. So that is one thing that you have to note. The guy that is on chat right now, when you go for something like a homage or clomage, something super affordable, you can't expect too much from the bracelet. That's usually where these kind of watches lack. And I will get behind, you know, that idea, because for sure that's where usually the watches lack as is. Water resistance is typically 200 meters on most divers and field models. Overall, construction is solid casing, crowns, sturdy bezels, and have a crisp click. That's a little questionable. And the crystal resistance is high thanks to the sapphire. The resistance to scratches, if you will. Yes. Minor QC issues. So things like a misaligned bezel, right? That's typical to get on there for sure. Hairspring on the bracelets. The price point is usually 150 to 250 USD on their website. We're going to get to their website as well. The reviews highlight the value, with most noting that Tandorio dive watches with Seiko NH35 movements offer great value for money. So relative to the cost of mechanical watches, a lot of people and a lot of reviewers and a lot of enthusiasts do value Tandorio for giving us something mechanical that is on the affordable side. And we're going to get to why that's very important, at least in my book. Tandorio watches are a solid. Tandorio watches are solid directly through official website, or you can get them on marketplaces like AliExpress, Amazon, eBay, and global dealers. Their reputation among enthusiasts is positive for its value, as I said before, and the build for price for affordable collectors, despite the finishing not being refined. That's another point. Straps, a little bit of misalignment on the bezel inserts, and also the finishing is not going to be Top Gun. And we shouldn't expect them to be Top Gun, because at the end of the day, you're only spending around 100 to 200 doll hairs. So that makes sense. Their reputation among enthusiasts is positive. I read that. Their reputation among enthusiasts is positive for its value, build for price, affordable collectors, despite finishing not being as refined. Yes. So I read that. So what are their strengths? Before we do the unboxing, we're going to get to that. But what are clomage, homage companies like Tandorio, what are they very strong in? I'm going to get to chat, but I'm going through the script. Excellent beater watches, right? And they get you accustomed to mechanical watches overall for functions of the watch. Guys, it's impossible to argue that homage watches at the price point is very good, because here's the deal. I've come across a lot of people that never have owned a mechanical watch, mostly family, and I give them a watch, of course, and what happens is they don't know how to set the date, they don't know how to wind the watch, they don't know too much about it. And here's the deal. There's a lot of professionals in the watch chat. Therefore, we know it's almost like brushing our teeth, right? But when you see a new person experience a mechanical watch, you realize all the skills that you've developed over time that you may overlook. So a watch that's $50, $100, $200, whatever it may be, is a fantastic training ground for people to get accustomed to when to change that date, how much to wind the watch, to screw the crown down. That's probably the biggest mistake that I see. Screwing the crown down is a deal, right? And if they're used to quartz watches, a lot of people are used to experiencing quartz watches, and usually that's just a push-in crown. So what I experience is when I do give that mechanical watch to somebody, they're not used to screwing down the crown, and therefore they have the crown out. So having something more affordable as a training ground for them to experience and get used to mechanical watches is a thing. So that's my point, and I'm sticking to it. I think the strengths with these is that you kind of know that you're getting, but maybe with some features or points of interest not available on the original. Yeah, I mean, it's back and forth. It's back and forth. Let me get into my other strengths, but it's back and forth with the features for sure. I think that it's also a perfect base to go off of if you're attempting modifying watches, and you also will get easy to find parts with that watch. Yes, so most of them are based off of the NH35 for the majority, and there's a plentiful amount of parts that you can buy for that watch. So if you're a person that has thought about modifying watches, but you're too intimidated to start from scratch, deconstructing a watch that you purchase can be a thing for homage and clomage companies like Tandorio. Yes. And it could be something that you could work on little by little. At least you have a completed watch initially. Maybe you want to attempt removing the bezel insert, graduate to going inside of the watch where you're changing out hands. And guys, I'm only explaining exactly what my experience was and how it went from 0 to 100 with actually modifying watches. So you go into the watch, you change the hands, maybe you change the dial, things of that nature, but at least you know that everything is well put together. And because Tandorio is doing the heavy lifting of purchasing all those parts in bulk, aside from buying those parts separately and paying the difference, you're saving the money alone. Yes. And NH35, if you buy that alone, $25 to $30. A case, $30. A dial, $20, $15. Hands, $20, $15. See what I'm saying? So by the time you add up all those things that you would buy individually and try to put it together, it's a good place to start where all of those things are together. And then you can slowly add the parts that you want to change out over time. End scene. I agree. Agree to know that you're what? Agree. You know what you're getting. They're very affordable watches and cover all types. Exactly. Exactly. What's another good point? Often closely resembles luxury brands for a fraction of the price. That's another point to be made. And that might not be for you. Maybe you want the real thing. Maybe you want an actual homage and not a clomage. But you may not want to buy the real thing ever because it's way far out your price point, but yet you can still enjoy the design close to. I showed you guys what I did with my homage and clomage. I'll give you guys another look at that. Let me put up the cam. So this was obviously resembling we all know this Rolex, yes? So that's resembling that. It gives me as close as I want to get to the design, and I swapped out the hands and the dial itself to a sunburst. And I feel like that gives me better vibes to what I want out of that kind of, Rolex, right? And that's where I started off. So I'm probably not going to be ready for that Rolex for a long time, but at least I get to enjoy the design. Now, you can get an actual homage watch of it. There's a Rolex Submariner. There's so many different, thank you, baby. There's so many different versions of that you can get, because that's the most copied design that's out there. However, just enjoying that design, if you are feeling it and it not being gatekeep behind, I think that watch is now 10 grand. I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing. And here's the deal. If that's what gets you into watch collecting, I'm all for it. Is that fair to say? I think so. What's my next point? So Tandorio specifically, you have the option of logo, no logo, or custom logo. And I'm going to show you guys a custom logo. In fact, I'll show you guys the custom logo right now. Let's pull up the watch cam. So this is a Tandorio that I have with a custom logo, right? I send them the rendering of my last name. They put that as the logo on the dial. This is a Grand Seiko, obviously homage. So that's another option that you can go for and do yourself if you want to. Now, that is if you don't want to venture off and try to get a logo produced yourself. They can put it all together for you, right? They can put that logo on any design that you want. And that's a nice way to enjoy the watch even more and make it more personal. So I think that that's a phenomenal strength. Let's get to the unboxing, shall we? So let's move these watches. Let me check up on chat, make sure you guys are good. Let's see. I think you guys are I think I'm pretty much caught up. Yeah, I'm caught up. So let's do the unboxing, shall we? Let's do the unboxing. All right. So Tandorio did send me these two watches, which is very strong in having this topic discussion. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what that looks like. And this is the box that you normally get for them. Okay. Now, again, these are all going to be homages, and this gives you mother of pearl, right? Pretty standard stuff. But again, like I said before, the logo is not on there, right? It's absent of a logo. So you have that choice with them. And I think that that's fantastic. Let's wind it up so we can see the second hand moving. And look, as far as the quality goes, like overall, I want to kind of, what do you call it? I kind of want to dispel the myth of the fact that, well, if you buy this watch, it's going to fall apart. Guys, you don't have to take my word for it. You can speak to anybody who buys homage watches, whether it be Tandorio or another company. I happen to be talking about Tandorio. They sent me the watches, so out of respect, we're not going to talk about others. However, if you talk to any watch collector that has homage watches, their watches do not fall apart. Where they have the division as far as quality, it comes from the caliber of movement. It comes from possibly misalignment. The bracelets, yes, the bracelets are not extraordinary. Yes, this is going to get the job done. We all know what this clasp looks like. We all know what this bracelet looks like. We're going to say J-style bracelets for copyright purposes. But you have a milled clasp, okay? You have an on-the-fly adjustment on here, right? So you pick where you want to adjust the bracelet itself, push down, clips in, all said and done. Works phenomenally, right? It's not super smooth. It's a little gritty here at that changing of actual sizing, but it works really, really well. You have the nice clip on here, and I think that these are actually screwed. Are these actually screwed in links? Yeah, these are actually screwed in links, right? So not so bad, not so bad at all. So here's the deal. If you go with one of these watches and you like the design and you want to save yourself that kind of cost, you can do that. The watch is going to last because this one, I believe, is powered by an NH35. So you're not going to have any issues here. We have the Cyclops. You guys can see how it's set on the Cyclops itself. The clasp looks pretty good to me. And that's what Wristful Ignorance says. And you know what, dude? It is pretty good. It is pretty good. Now, the bracelet itself, it's not super refined, but dude, it is pretty good overall, right? It gets a little stuck here, as you guys can see. You know, that's just one of the things. It is a little like, you know, what do you call that? It doesn't flow. It's not as, you know, supple as a expensive band will be. But guys, it's gonna get the job done, right? You don't have to change this bracelet out in particular. There are straps and there are some other watches that you will feel the need to do so. But in my opinion, this bracelet is going to hold up. You are getting the clasp. It doesn't have quick release, right? But this is going to be a sapphire crystal. And look, I have my sapphire crystal tester if you guys really want me to do that. I have my scale next to me. I have my caliber. So let me know if you're interested in all that. But we are going to go to the website where you can get that information anyway. But at the end of the day, man, if you like this kind of design, you can get this for a fraction of the price. And again, my main point is this, right? And it's the main point of the channel. If it gets you into the watch collecting scene, I'm all for it. Yes, that's the main point I want to make. And I'll tell you what, I technically started, I think I started with an Apple Watch. I did go with a homage watch. You guys have seen my collection, so you know where I'm at now. You guys know how enthusiastic I am about web-based brands or independent micro, whatever you want to call them. So it's evolved. But had I not got those keys to the door, we wouldn't be here, right? We wouldn't be here. And this led to me doing the content here for everything else. So I think the main idea and the main topic discussion we have to talk about is how that opens doors and how we can grow the pie and get more watch collectors into the hobby itself. Yes. J-Style. Yes, we have to say J-Style. Let's go into the next unboxing. So for my next unboxing, we have another Tandorio watch. Yes. And look, also too, just so you guys know, you guys see me do my edited reviews for Tandorio. Got a lot of respect for them. Now, what I have done with the watches that were sent to me, I still own some, right? I still have this one from Tandorio, right? And what I want to do with one or maybe even two of these watches that I'm unboxing, I'm going to send them to other watch content creators, because there are a lot of great content creators out there that are just starting off, that don't just have the time to reach out to companies and everything else. And I would love to do a giveaway on the channel, but I think that what is more productive for watch content in general is for me to pass them on to other watch content creators, right? Let me send them to another person where they can give you guys their thoughts, their insight, their reviews, because I don't want my content to be the only end all be all. I want you guys to get more out of it and more opinions for it. Fair enough? Let's go into the watch cam and unbox the next watch, shall we? Oscar agrees. He says, yeah. So this is the second watch, and you guys are going to be able to identify this immediately, because again, these are homage watches. And this is the second watch that they sent me, yes? And again, no logo on there whatsoever. You can get a sterile dial is what it's called. And it's pretty obvious what this is exactly homaging. Now, here's the deal. I want to put this on wrist because we made a comment about how where the bracelets or the straps are kind of lacking. And here it's listen, it's on my wrist, but you guys can see the discrepancies where it bulges out a little bit on the side, right? And it's not the most supple strap as is. It's cool that it has a clasp, but it doesn't sit on wrist very comfortably. And that's where companies like this do lack a little bit. However, the main important ingredient for a watch is the watch head itself, right? And the hands, the dial, all this stuff works as how it should, yes? So I don't know if you guys can hear the click on this. Let's see if it works. I don't know if you guys hear this. It's a decent click. It's a decent click. Is it the best click in the world? No, but it's a very good click, I have to say, for sure, for sure. Let's pull that up. It's a decent click for sure. Now, look. Oh, I forgot to get a tool. Hold on, give me 1 second. I just wanted to get something to point to you guys. Hold on. The show must go on. Okay. Here we go. All right, so check it out. So what are the things that you can modify of this watch, right? If you're going with something affordable, now this watch is going to be in the ballpark of, let's say, $100 to $200, right? Conservatively. So you can modify the bezel insert. You can even modify the bezel itself, right? You can change the strap. I told you guys that's where the strap is lacking. I just showed you guys the bracelet for this J-Style bracelet. It is decent. Out of 10, I would say this is a 6, a 5 out of 10, somewhere around there. I do like that it has that adjustment, right, for when you have that thermal expansion. I think that that's probably the most important part. And it doesn't feel super, super cheap. But finishing, not having quick release at the lugs itself, that's a thing, right? So I get that. But it's a decent bracelet. And again, you have to remember the price that you're paying, yes? Now this, I am very familiar with rubber straps. My favorite strap is an FKM. I've told you guys about the Montrose strap many, many times. And it is, I know I say supple and we say that as a joke. But what the reason why I emphasize that supple is because it conforms around your wrist a lot better, right? This is a little stiff. I do like that they added a clasp to that. That's very, very nice. That's super cool. But if I had to critique this the most, I would say make this FKM and then continue to attach this strap. And this strap altogether, I'm sorry, continue to attach this this clasp because it's milled, right? We don't get any micro adjustment at that point, but still, you have if you had the FKM onto this clasp, it would be really, really cool, right? And that would make the world of difference. So going back to what I said on the modifying part, right? You can modify this bezel insert if it doesn't work for you. You can modify the hands, the dial. You can take this Cyclops off if a Cyclops isn't for you. You can change the crown, right? They have a bunch of crowns that are available to change whatever style you want to do. So pretty much you can change a lot about the watch. Now you may ask me this, right? Whoops. You may ask me this. Hold on, let me bring myself up. You may ask the point, well, Skylar, why would I buy a watch that I'm going to end up changing everything for? Because if you push yourself to be able to modify smaller things, you'll be able to service your watches better. Now, doing a modification to a $100 to $200 watch is wildly different than doing a modification to a $700 to a $1,000 watch. Yes, I do not do any modifications to watches that cost that much. I'm okay with playing around with a $200. Well, now that I've gotten better, I'm okay with playing around with a watch that's $300 to $500, to be honest with you. However, when you're first starting off, you're going to make mistakes. It's inevitable. So you want those mistakes to cost you less. So if you do so on parts or watches that cost you less overall, right? Then you can not worry about, potentially breaking the bank or potentially throwing money away. Yes. And if you go with a watch company that's like Tandorio, then you can get the full package, meaning you can enjoy the watch before you even step into the modifications itself. Fair enough? Now, I want to go back to that watch cam and I want to bring up this Serica watch, right? Because one thing I want people to understand, these watches have an NH35, yes? Or whatever, the one with the date, right? NH35, or they have the date. Now, this one has the PT5000, right? That's a high beat movement. So you can have something that has a homage to Serica and then it has a high beat movement. So everything from a more expensive movement, I wouldn't say a more expensive movement, but a high beat movement versus a non-high beat movement. But either way, here's the deal. And I want to make sure that this is crystal clear. The watches are going to last you a long time. I've already had the watch that I showed you guys in the beginning for about 4 to 5 years. And the question is, have I run into any issues as far as needing to service it? Did it not last? Did it only last you 2 years? No. And I expect this watch to last me a lot longer than 2 years, right? So this is a watch that I put in my collection very, very early on. It does have an NH35. I did ended up modding a couple of things out of it. And even with me modding it, it's still holding up. So if you decide to go that route, if you decide to use homage clomage watches for that reason, you're golden. Fair enough? So we're going to audit the website. And then we're gonna peel off. Yes, 4 hertz, exactly. Instead of I have to say old style. Yes. Yeah. So if exactly, J Watch, if that rubber strap was more like the Montreux, which is the FKM, then it would be a lot more supple and it would be more received. And I think that that's where they would have to do for that altogether. Watch on the right bezel is sharp. Watch on the right bezel. I don't know which one. Friday and Skylar. Oh, man, why you gotta always point that out? All right, so, oh man, I missed some super chats. I apologize. Lone Ranger with the super chat. I do appreciate you, bro. What were you saying to that too? You didn't say anything. You just super chat. I do appreciate you. Christopher White is in here. What's going on? He says, what's up to everyone? What's happening? New watches, Skylar, a good day. It's always a good day with new watches. Exactly. Exactly. Lone Ranger with us. I'll give you guys another one with us. Super chat. Appreciate you, bro. That's awesome. You didn't say anything in that though. Let me go up. Let me go up. Maybe I missed a couple more. I do apologize. I'm ranting on. I just wanted to drive a point. You know what I mean? I wanted to drive a point for it. Did I miss anything else? Let's see. Hold on. I'm scrolling. I think that was the only one. I said hi to Mr. Wood. Eric Mack is in the building. David's in the building. I do apologize. I'm going on a rant. I think I caught up. Yeah, I did. So with that being said, those are the watches. I want to show you guys this one more time. For Tandorio specifically, you can do a custom dial, right? Oh man, it's blocking it. Hold on. Let me change the time. Hold on. Here we go. You can do a custom dial. Yes. So Santana, and that's the font that I love to have. Oh, by the way, there's something to that. If you send a rendering for a custom dial, make sure. So here's how it works. You send them set logo. It could be your name. It could be an image. If it is an image, you want to make sure that that image is very simplistic, not too complicated. It could be a little fancy schmancy, but not nothing too crazy, because it's not going to be transferable to the dial, if you will. Yes. So if you do that, they're going to send you a rendering to make sure that you're happy with the placement and happy with the outcome. You want to make sure that you get a close-up to that, and you also get a far shot. Why? Because these things are very minor details on the dial itself, and you want to make sure that the sizing is to your liking, right? I've run across that in the past where I thought it was good from a close-up shot, and I realized that it's not legible to what I want it to be later on. So let me give you that gem for sure. Patel Philippe with the super chat. Appreciate you, bro. Have a good weekend, big dog. You have a good weekend, sir. I do appreciate you stepping in just to wish me a good weekend for sure. Super chat voice is coming. The super chat voice is becoming legendary. Dude, I don't even know where that came from, too. I guess it came from the enthusiasm and the spirit, for sure. My wife says, why you gotta do me like that? I'm live, babe. My wife says that it comes from the Henny. With this super chat. She outed me, guys. That's what happens. That's what happens. We're having fun here. Skylar Santana on a rant. Perish the thought. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So let's bring up the website. Because look, we did a review. I showed you guys the watch. Now, the trade-off to doing live reviews is that I can't give you the super macro shots, but let me know what your thoughts on doing live reviews. We're going to do this again one more time, and it's going to be more so focused on a particular watch. I felt that because I had a few Tandorios, I wanted to focus on an overall theme. But we're going to take a look at Vario next week, and it's going to actually be detailed specifically on a new release that he did. This time, we did an overall review of Tandorio watches as a whole because I had a few on hand, yes? But let me know what your thoughts are as far as how I could improve and how I could do that moving forward. But keep in mind that we're going to also do this again next week, and it's going to be more detailed, yes? So that being said, let's do this. So this is the website, and when you get to the landing page of this website, that's your boy's wrist. So this is the landing page to the Tandorio website. Yes, that is my own wrist shot of the Willard titanium homage, right? We had that. I moved that on to another watch collector because I thought that it would be insightful to hear their thoughts. And as you can see from this photo, I don't know if you can see it, but I did change out the strap on this. This is not the stock strap. Behind it is the stock strap. But you know what, man? I'm going to make another point. And this is what it is. That titanium Willard led me to a turtle, right? A Seiko turtle. because I saw how well it fit on wrist. Now, the difference is I didn't like the crown guards on there, which is why the King Turtle is better. But you get where I'm going. I don't want to say that that is one of the best strengths. Oh, you could wear the watch and therefore get the real thing. But I will say that that happened in that accord. Yes, is that fair? I think it's fair. So let's go back. So this is the Tandorio website, and what I want to focus on here, I just want to go through the gamut with it. Right? We spoke about the bronze watch availability for Tandorio. We have some titanium. We have steel. We see the Serica. We see the Rolex homages. Right? But here's what you can do. Yes, watch this. I want to pick, you know what? Let's go up here and let's go to a watch style. Let's say dive watches, because I know where I'm going to go with this, right? We all know what this is. Well, they even say it, SKX, right? So if you're looking for an SKX that you could have a lot of fun with, you can go, listen, you can go with straight Seiko, no problem. But if you go with the Tandorio, it's going to be less in cost, right? How much are they selling this for? 116, right? So now you have a little room to play around with all the parts that I told you. You can play around with the bezel insert, the hands. You can also choose for this to be, to not have the logo, right? They have the specifications here. Now look, I said that this is going to be a website audit, right? And I want specific things. So this is 20 bar, 200 meters. NH36A automatic, sapphire crystal, 120 clicks. You have the dimensions here. I think that the crown dimensions should be added to this as well. I think that that's important for sure. I don't, are they mentioning band lug? Oh, that was another thing. I don't see dial diameter, band thickness. I don't see a lug to lug, right? Is it, unless this is band length, diameter, width, yeah, I don't see a lug to lug, right? 22 millimeters. That's important, man. You got to have that in every watch specification. So Tandorio, if you're listening to this, let's get a lug to lug on there, and let's possibly get a crowned width on there as well. But here's the deal. On their watches, let's see if I can go back. Here we go. You can choose between having the logo and having a sterile dial, or you could do a steel case back, glass case back, which is just a exhibition case back. Or what you can do is you can do a custom dial. Let me see if I could pull that up. Where do we have that? Here we are. We could do a custom dial. Now, now you're going to notice something. Tandorio for their custom dial logo. Because look, I saw on their website that they had the option, and I guess that I was the only person that worked with them to ask them for a custom dial, and therefore I guess they decided to use the rendering that I did as an example. But it can be done, and you should be done, and you should go for it, because you may not want to outsource a logo dial. Maybe you want to get everything wrapped up into one, right? Maybe you want to get something that is a homage, and you want to get something with your own logo on it, whether it be your name or not be your name. You can get that all in one place. What are you guys saying on chat? Santana dial. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Your boy is famous. I giggle when I bring that. Like I didn't expect them to do that, honestly, but I guess it's cool. So this is what you would give as an example for a rendering. Yes, I gave them this font, right, that I wanted. This is my specific font that I love. It's a capital S. It has a separation, and then everything is script, and I love this T here, right? So I made sure that this is lined up at the 12 o'clock, right? And then I asked them for a backed out photo. I don't know if they have that here. Okay, they're not showcasing that. But I asked them for a further away shot. But I can already kind of tell by the thickness of this font and how it's positioned that it was to my liking. So if you want to do a custom dial with Tandorio, you can do that. That is an option, right? Fair enough. And that's exactly what you see here. Now, that dial doesn't go to this watch specifically. They just are using that as a general just to show you guys how it works. Custom logo, they give you the price of what that's going to cost. You can do colors. You can do text engraving and switch to an SS strap. Not sure what that means. Oh, here we go. Yo, at this point, you guys are gonna think you guys are gonna think that I'm like a mascot for them. But listen, that's one of the watches that I reviewed. It is what it is, man. That's one of the watches that I reviewed. So if you want to, if you're interested in the GMT watch, you can watch my video on their website. But again, I think that that's something that they need to change for the specifications. I think crown needs to be mentioned. We have the NH34 being utilized here. And let's see what the price is. Let's go back. 132 for a GMT Seiko NH34. Can't complain about that. Can't complain about that at all. So that's what they have to offer, man. That's what they have to offer. Let's go back. Whoa, what are we doing? Let's go back. Let's go to watches. So as I mentioned before, guys, when I went through it in the beginning, I mentioned they have pilot watches, dive watches, fashion watch. I'm not even sure what a fashion watch means. This is a Bell & Ross. This is a skeleton dial. That's fine. I think this is a Patek Philippe. And it looks like this logo is actually applied. This is new to me. Well, where'd it go? Hold on. It looks like this is like a applied logo. Yes. So just the logo, nothing written out, which is fine, which is probably where they want to go, because that kind of looks good. No, I think that looks kind of good with just the Tandorio T and nothing else. No script on there. That's not bad. That's blurry. That's not bad. But you know, all powered by NH35, which means that effectively you can change any part essentially that you want to in the innards, the hands, the dial, the crown you could find, and everything else. This is like an integrated bracelet. We're just going to take a look at it. This is an interesting thing. I guess by fashion, they mean out of the ordinary for the most part. We have an open heart here. So a lot of different options, man. GMT, bronze, titanium. Titanium is kind of cool, man. They have a couple of options for titanium. This is cool, man. This is cool. So if you wanted to do like a homage of Rolex, the fact that this is titanium is pretty cool. It would be even cooler if they had a bracelet involved, but still, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. They have a bunch of different colors that you can choose from. Straps are there. You could do a sterile dial. You have a lot of options, man. And that, look, here, that's the thing. That's the main part. The main idea is that you can just have fun with your watch. And that's what this is all about. It's all about having fun. Bronze, if you want some kind of patina, glass back watches, titanium. Yeah, man. So that's pretty much it. Now, I want to bring this up too before we close out. You can go for watch parts, right? Right? It's all in one place. That's why I wanted to do this live. You can go for dials, hands, movements. You can get the tools. So it's really like a one-stop shop if you want to even deconstruct the watch. But if you want to get some dials that you want to switch out on the watches itself, they have those options here. I'm pretty sure if you contact them and you wanted to swap out a dial, right, prior, instead of doing it yourself, I'm sure you could say, hey, can you put this dial with this watch? Is it possible? I'm sure that they'll be willing to do that. There may be a fee involved. You can do hands, different kind of hands. They have PT 5000 hands if you have a high beat. You've got Cathedral. You have the standard Seiko type. You have the Rolex Mercedes. Serica. I think the Serica uses this often, the pointer. So there's a bunch of options that can go down for your watch and get you rolling in that idea of modifying your watches. Is that fair? I'm going to catch up on chat, and then we're going to peel off. I think I made my point as is, right? So where we at on chat? The custom dial feature is cool, but I'm not putting my surname on the dial. And you don't have to, because you can put a lion's head. You can put the world. You can put, and those are just examples that I'm giving you that I've either seen or done myself. The point is this: you can put whatever logo that you think would be magnificent with set watch that they have on offer. You can put whatever you want. You can have whatever you like. You know what I mean? Demonetized. I happen to do that because that was my thing from the beginning when I started doing modifications. But at the end of the day, as long as the image is pretty simple, then you can put whatever you want. You don't want to put anything too complicated because again, it's not gonna really come through as clear as it should too. I think that's it. I think that's it on chat. We're all caught up. So there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope this was helpful. If you are new to watch collecting and you have been on the fence about homage watches, I hope this gave some kind of clarification for you as far as it goes. Yeah. There are certain things that you are not going to get out of a homage watch, no matter what the company is. And those things are refined finishing. Yes. Super high complication, super high complicated movements, but not only complication in movements, but also you're not going to get a Swiss made on most. On most, some may offer it. This one goes up into a PT 5000, Miyota, NH35. Well, are those movements are going to last? Absolutely, absolutely. And I beg to have the conversation of when it comes time. Like any one of these Tandorio watches, the NH35 movement, when it comes time for that movement to be replaced and or serviced, it's just going to be replaced. And if you dive into modifying from the point of a homage watch, I'll tell you what, man, it's a lot easier than you think to swap out movements. It's a lot easier than you think to swap out hands. Guys, here's the deal. It's all in patience. And if you're going to attempt doing those things, it should be with something super affordable. That's where I started, and where I ended off is astronomical. It has brought me so much perspective in the watch journey, understanding how fragile these parts are and appreciating the manufacturing side of things, right? Understanding and not getting so frustrated when I receive a watch in the mail and maybe a second hand fell off, or maybe something is misaligned. You start to appreciate these things, but you also have the added benefit of correcting these things. Yes. So if you get a second hand fall off, you're like, oh, no problem. I can open up the watch and I can put the second hand back on. Or you can custom design the watch tailored to what you want. I can't tell you the satisfaction that brings. It's something that you have to experience. It's not something that is preached and understood. Understand? Let me catch up on chat. Let me see where we're at. Custom dial features. Okay, I read that. Oh, y'all guys have fun. Skylar, see you on the next live. Appreciate you, or on Watch Crunch. Jose, I do appreciate the super chat. Jose, thank you for joining me, man. I hope this was helpful. If you're starting your watch collection journey especially, or if you haven't got into modding, I hope this gained perspective. If you have any questions, please comment down below. Let me know what the questions are. If you have any perspective to add to the conversation, I'm interested to know what your perspective is. And of course, as always, I appreciate you guys for spending your most valuable asset, which is time. And I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Later, guys, and have a fantastic weekend. Peace.